They don't wear capes, but they are trained to kill in silence. Few know their names. Even fewer have seen their faces. They are the final line between Vladimir Putin and chaos. Recruited from the best, trained like machines, and prepared to act in a fraction of a second, these men form one of the most secretive and feared units in the world, the personal guard of the Russian president. But who are they really? How do they operate? What are they hiding? And what would they be willing to do to protect their leader? Uncover now the secrets behind Vladimir Putin's elite bodyguard unit. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now let's get started. The FSO, Vladimir Putin's invisible guard. In a country where secrecy is a weapon and loyalty is a requirement, there exists a force that operates far from the spotlight, yet closer to power than any other. This is the FSO, the Federal Protective Service of the Russian Federation, the agency responsible for one of the world's most sensitive and dangerous missions, protecting the president of Russia at all costs. Few outside Russia truly understand the inner workings of this force, but to grasp its nature, one must look back to the days when the feared KGB controlled every aspect of Soviet national security. The FSO is a direct heir to that tradition, emerging after the collapse of the Soviet Union, carrying forward not only the methods, but also the spirit of absolute vigilance. Its official founding dates back to 1996, when it was established as an independent entity, but its roots run much deeper. The FSO evolved from the KGB's 9th Directorate, which for decades protected leaders such as Stalin, Khrushchev, and Brezhnev. With the rise of Vladimir Putin, himself a former KGB agent, this structure gained even more importance, more resources, and above all, more authority. Today, the FSO is an organization with vast powers, comparable in function to the United States Secret Service, but with even deeper internal reach. Its agents do more than just physically protect the Russian president. They also monitor all forms of communication surrounding the head of state. They are responsible for guarding government buildings, transportation systems, and even the cybersecurity of the presidency. The actual size of its personnel is a mystery. Officially, the exact number is classified. It is estimated, however, to exceed 50,000 members, including highly trained military personnel, intelligence experts, and undercover operatives. Many of these men and women work invisibly, blending into crowds, surveilling potential threats before anyone is even aware of their presence. The FSO is also directly responsible for operating the presidential motorcade and an armored convoy coordinated with military precision. Every movement of Putin is meticulously planned and rehearsed. There are false routes, duplicate vehicles, and protocols that change with each event. The objective is simple: prevent any adversary from knowing exactly where the president is or where he is going. Another symbol of the FSO's importance and sophistication is its control over the secret Moscow Metro, known as Metro 2. This unofficial underground network is believed to connect the Kremlin to nuclear bunkers and strategic points, allowing for emergency evacuation of the president in case of extreme crisis. Although many of its operations never come to light, the FSO has demonstrated its effectiveness in several situations. It neutralizes threats silently, acting before they materialize. Those who have dared to challenge Putin publicly, whether politicians, oligarchs, or defecting spies, often found themselves under surveillance or, in extreme cases, facing deadly consequences. The FSO's command structure reports directly to the president of the Russian Federation, meaning it operates with near total independence within the state hierarchy. It is a force that serves the leader more than the country, a clear reflection of how power is exercised in the Kremlin. For many analysts, the FSO represents the true center of gravity of Putin's power. It is more than a personal guard. It is a complete defense system built on decades of state paranoia, rigorous training, and unwavering loyalty. Little is said about it publicly, almost nothing is shown, yet its presence is constant even when invisible. In times of global instability, sanctions, and military tensions, protecting Putin is more than a duty. It is a matter of survival for the Russian political system itself. And behind it all, in the silence of Kremlin hallways and the darkness of Moscow streets, operates the FSO, the most powerful secret guard in the modern world. The process behind elite bodyguards. The image of an elite bodyguard is often associated with a commanding figure dressed in black, with a sharp gaze and firm posture, always in the shadow of powerful leaders, global celebrities, or high-risk individuals. But behind this seemingly calm appearance lies a journey marked by pain, discipline, sacrifice, and an almost inhuman level of demand. The selection and training of an elite bodyguard is not for everyone. Only those who are physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared can rise to the top of this invisible and relentless relentless hierarchy. It all begins with the recruitment process, where having a strong body or experience in martial arts is not enough. Candidates undergo a rigorous screening that evaluates military or law enforcement background, specific self-defense skills, emotional intelligence, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. Many of those selected come from special units of the Army, Navy, or National Security Forces. But even these seasoned professionals must prove they have what it takes to protect a life that in many cases is worth billions, or represents an entire nation. Physical training is a chapter of its own. Candidates endure an exhausting routine of exercises that go far beyond ordinary endurance. They are placed in continuous stress situations, sleep deprivation, live fire attack simulations, war zone rescues, and hostile environment drills. All of this is designed to prepare both body and mind to react automatically and precisely, even under the most extreme conditions. Mistakes are not tolerated, and those who fail repeatedly are cut. Beyond physical preparation, the psychological aspect is pushed to the limit. The tests are designed to detect traits of impulsiveness, fear, emotional instability, and even subtle signs of mental imbalance. The pressure is constant. During training, instructors try to provoke candidates emotionally to see how they react to humiliation, fear, and chaos. Those who break down emotionally are immediately eliminated. Only those who demonstrate absolute self-control are allowed to continue. Another crucial element of the training is mastery of hand-to-hand combat techniques, handling of both short and long firearms, defensive driving, emergency evacuation, surveillance and counter-surveillance tactics, as well as coded communication and advanced protection technologies. Every action is calculated in milliseconds. An elite bodyguard must anticipate threats before they happen. They must be invisible, yet present, lethal, yet discreet, tireless, yet always calm. But what truly sets these professionals apart is not just their physical or technical skill, but the code of honor they carry. Many spend years away from their families, frequently move across countries, give up their own identities, and live under strict conduct rules, all to protect someone else. And most impressively, almost always without being noticed. Because the best bodyguard is the one who does their job without anyone realizing it. That's why this type of professional is so rare and so highly valued. The price of excellence in this field is not just sweat and blood, but the sacrifice of a normal life. They are men and women shaped to act from the shadows, trained to face the impossible, and ready to give their lives if necessary for the one they protect. The invisible power behind elite forces. In an increasingly unstable world where threats arise unexpectedly and from multiple fronts, military powers and elite special forces are forced to operate not only with brute strength, but with cutting-edge technology and protocols that remain invisible to the public eye. Behind the discreet appearances and coordinated actions of presidential bodyguards, secret agents, and elite troops lies a highly technological universe, where nothing is left to chance and every second can be decisive in saving lives or neutralizing a threat. These units, typically associated with the protection of heads of state, government facilities, and classified operations, are equipped with the most advanced resources available. Next-generation weapons, including smart rifles with AI-assisted aiming, long-range electroshock weapons, and remotely controlled explosives, make up just a fraction of their arsenal. In many cases, the soldiers or agents themselves are equipped with custom-made ballistic suits, resistant to armor-piercing ammunition, and even biometric sensors embedded in their clothing to monitor their physical and mental health in real time. In terms of mobility, the armored vehicles used by these units go far beyond what the public sees in luxury limousines. They are true fortresses on wheels. Many of these vehicles have armor composed of classified metal alloys, capable of withstanding RPG attacks, landmines, and even high-powered explosions. They also feature hermetically sealed systems against chemical or biological attacks, windows with adjustable opacity, smoke ejectors, signal jammers, and automated escape mechanisms. Another crucial element is the communication system. Operations are kept completely secret thanks to ultra-secure encrypted networks, often based on proprietary military satellites or quantum protocols that prevent interception. Each unit communicates through discrete and intelligent devices, which can be embedded in the ear, collar, or even via temporary subcutaneous implants. This ensures a smooth chain of command, even in complex urban environments or during covert missions. What stands out the most, however, are the ultra-secret protocols activated in critical situations, such as assassination attempts, bomb threats, or cyber attacks against political leaders. These procedures involve a combination of artificial intelligence, surveillance drones, and multiple evacuation routes rehearsed dozens of times in advance. In less than 60 seconds, a head of state can be extracted from a location, taken to a remote underground shelter, and have their whereabouts concealed even from close allies. Some sources claim that certain countries possess automated systems capable of launching counterattacks based on facial recognition and suspicious behavior patterns in crowds, even without immediate human authorization. While controversial, this automation is defended by experts as necessary given the speed of modern threats. Beyond the physical, there is also a silent battlefield, cyber warfare. Security protocols also involve monitoring social media, digital transactions, and encrypted communications. Any suspicious mention of sensitive terms can trigger instant investigations and even tactical mobilizations. This constant surveillance, combined with big data analysis and predictive AI, is a key part of the invisible shield that protects leaders, information, and government infrastructure. In summary, behind an apparent atmosphere of institutional calm, there is a silent and impenetrable machine made up of cutting-edge technology, stealth weaponry, virtually indestructible vehicles, and protocols that few know in full. It is this hidden apparatus that ensures security in a world where peace can be shattered with the mere touch of a button. Theories and unsolved mysteries. In the world of conspiracy theories and unresolved mysteries, two subjects stand out due to the aura of secrecy and curiosity surrounding them: assassination attempts that were allegedly prevented but never officially disclosed, and persistent rumors about the use of body doubles among bodyguards and important public figures. These topics, a blend of facts, assumptions, and speculation, spark widespread interest and raise questions about what truly happens behind the scenes of power and security. Various reports suggest that serious plots to harm authorities, celebrities, or influential personalities have been intercepted before being carried out, but for strategic reasons, such incidents were kept under wraps. The aim of concealing these episodes may be to prevent public panic, protect ongoing intelligence operations, or avoid alerting those responsible to future countermeasures. However, the lack of official disclosure fuels an air of mystery and parallel theories, often challenging the transparency of the governments and agencies involved. The absence of concrete proof keeps these events in the realm of speculation, though certain signs, such as sudden changes in schedules, unusual movements by security forces, and discreet reports from insiders, suggest that not everything is as it seems. At the same time, the use of body doubles is another recurring theme in the sphere of unconfirmed theories. The idea that public figures, particularly political leaders and celebrities, might use physical stand-ins to evade threats or safeguard their identities highlights the complexity of modern security strategies. Though rarely confirmed, the existence of body doubles raises serious ethical and political questions. On one hand, it adds an extra layer of protection, making direct attacks more difficult. On the other, it could lead to public distrust, especially if a double appears at public events or makes decisions on behalf of the original. The suspicion that images or videos may not always depict the real person feeds the notion that truth is carefully manipulated, prompting debates about authenticity and control of information. When connecting these two themes, a web of possibilities emerges in which prevented attacks and the use of body doubles may be intertwined. Bodyguards, security teams, and specialized agents might not only protect physically, but also orchestrate swift switch-outs between the real figure and their stand-in in high-risk scenarios. Such tactics would require extreme coordination, absolute secrecy, and intensive preparation, elements that, by their very nature, keep these operations far from public awareness. The discreet and often invisible role of these professionals adds to the mystery surrounding these practices, fueling popular imagination and conspiracy theories alike. This human fascination with the unknown, with what is hidden, and the possibility that there's more than meets the eye was what keeps these theories alive. The search for explanations behind strange events, seemingly inexplicable behavior, and inconsistencies in official communication stems from a natural human desire for understanding and control. At the same time, there's an acknowledgement that national security, the protection of individuals, principles and social stability sometimes demand secrecy, creating an ongoing tension between transparency and the need to conceal. Therefore, these mysteries and theories about foiled attacks and body doubles, even without definitive proof, are part of the collective imagination and reflect the complex relationship between power, security, and information. They invite us to look beyond appearances and question the reality presented by authorities. After all, perhaps the deepest truths lie exactly in what remains hidden, in the spaces the public cannot reach, where secrecy becomes a tool for both protection and control. Power, control, and the art of silent protection. In today's world, where the security of political leaders has become vital for the stability of entire nations, few examples illustrate the complexity and effectiveness of such protection better than the bodyguard unit guarding Vladimir Putin. More than just physical security agents, these bodyguards are the true invisible wall surrounding the Russian president, an impenetrable fortress built not only with weapons, but with strategic control, absolute silence, and unwavering loyalty. The basic function of any bodyguard is to shield their principal from immediate threats, whether physical or even psychological. However, in Putin's case, protection goes far beyond the conventional. The men who surround him are trained to operate on levels that transcend the visible, working not only with sharp reflexes and physical strength, but with refined tactical intelligence and a deep understanding of the political and social environments around them. They do not merely prevent attacks, they manage risks before those threats even emerge, creating an almost invisible network of surveillance and control. This invisible wall protecting Putin is also a powerful symbol. It reflects a concept of power that does not rely solely on brute force or the number of soldiers, but on mastery of information, strategic anticipation, and calculated silence. Every movement of these bodyguards is meticulously planned to ensure the president remains untouchable, not just on the public stage, but in his personal life and behind the scenes of global politics. Furthermore, this special unit is an extension of Putin's own philosophy of governance. His authoritarian style, marked by strict control and centralized power, is mirrored in the discipline and obedience of his bodyguards. Their loyalty is not simply the result of rigorous training, but the product of a silent, almost ritualistic pact that reinforces the image of Putin as a leader who not only commands but is unshakable. This absolute trust allows Putin to wield influence with the confidence of someone who knows he is protected from any real or symbolic threat. Another essential element of this invisible wall's power is the mystery surrounding it. Very little is publicly known about the internal organization, routines, and protocols of these agents, which increases the aura of invincibility around the president. This opacity is no accident. It's a deliberate strategy that protects not only Putin's physical safety, but also the public and international perception of his image, reinforcing a narrative of almost mythical power in a time when threats to world leaders are constantly evolving. And whether through terrorism, espionage, or internal crises, the adaptability and discretion of the unit protecting Putin make this invisible wall one of the most effective in the world. It symbolizes the balance between the public exposure demanded by office and the secretive protection that sustains the exercise of absolute power. Ultimately, the true strength of this unit lies precisely in what we cannot see. The agent's silence, the lack of information about their operations, and the complete invisibility of their actions in Putin's daily life form a defense system that goes far beyond simple physical protection. It is a mental, emotional, and symbolic fortress, an invisible shield that protects the Russian leader from all forms of threat. In short, Putin's invisible wall is not just a group of bodyguards trained to act with lethal precision. It is a concrete manifestation of the idea of absolute power, where control, loyalty, and mystery come together to ensure the stability and continuity of one of the most complex and influential regimes in the modern world. It is this combination that keeps Vladimir Putin virtually untouchable, reaffirming that behind every strong leader, there is a silent and relentless network ready to ensure he remains at the center of power, untouched and invincible. The dark life of Vladimir Putin's bodyguards. Being the bodyguard of a head of state is, in itself, a risky mission, but when the person under protection is Vladimir Putin, one of the most powerful, feared, and enigmatic leaders in the world, that mission takes on even deeper and darker dimensions. In the case of the Russian president, protection goes far beyond physical security and demands something nearly totalitarian, the complete renunciation of individuality. These men, handpicked with extreme care, are not merely security guards. They are shadows, silent, disciplined, and almost almost invisible. They live in a world where every step, every gesture, and even every thought must align with a single principle: unconditional loyalty to the supreme leader. The selection process to join the elite unit responsible for Putin's security, known as the Federal Protective Service of Russia, FSO, is rigorous. It includes intense physical tests, deep psychological evaluations, and above all, a spotless record of loyalty and silence. Candidates are often recruited at a young age, trained to obey without question, and shaped to live in the shadows of history. But what few people know, and what is almost never publicly discussed, is the human cost of this role. By accepting the job, these men give up virtually everything: fame, freedom, and even their own identity. Their real names are rarely known. Their families live under constant surveillance. Travel is controlled, communication is monitored, and their social circles are drastically limited. The ideal bodyguard is one who exists solely to serve and disappears when no longer needed. And what happens to those who decide to leave, or those who in some way are seen as a threat to the system's security? There are stories, some confirmed, others surrounded by speculation, of former presidential security members who vanished mysteriously or died under suspicious circumstances. Coincidence? Perhaps. But in Putin's Russia, where state control extends into the most intimate corners of private life, it's hard to believe in chance. This reality raises a disturbing question: what is loyalty really worth? In a world where loyalty can be rewarded with privilege, but also punished with eternal silence, the men behind the Kremlin's security walk a fine line between duty and total submission. It's not just about protecting a president, it's about protecting a symbol of absolute power. To do that, the bodyguards must become almost as impenetrable as Putin himself. They live under the constant weight of state secrets, geopolitical strategies, and above all, a tacit pact: don't betray, don't question, don't fail. Behind their cold expressions and flawless suits are men who pay the price of loyalty with their very lives, even if they're still breathing. Silence in the Kremlin, the price of a failure in Putin's security. In the heart of Russia, behind the impenetrable walls of the Kremlin, lies a security system that goes far beyond physical protection. It is a cold, precise, and ruthless machine, an organism in which every man is merely a replaceable part. And in this system, failure is not just unacceptable, it is dangerous. Vladimir Putin's bodyguards are part of an elite known as the Federal Protective Service, FSO, a highly trained agency that operates almost like a secret intelligence organization. Far from being mere security personnel, these agents are among the most monitored, tested, and loyal men in Russia. They are trained to anticipate threats before they even exist. Physical, emotional, or political. Nothing escapes the scrutiny of the FSO, but what if something does? Little is known about what happens to those who make mistakes within this circle. Unlike other governmental institutions, transparency is not a priority for the Kremlin. There are reports of agents who disappeared after minor failures, even when those failures were never made public. Many scholars and dissidents call this a silent purge. The accounts are vague, yet consistent. Sudden transfers, forced retirements, unexplained disappearances. In one emblematic case, a veteran FSO agent was abruptly replaced after allegedly forgetting to check an emergency exit before a Putin speech in 2018. He was never heard from again. Coincidence? Perhaps. But in a regime where every detail is meticulously planned, even coincidences seem scripted. This atmosphere of constant internal surveillance turns the work of these guards into something closer to a psychological game. They don't just protect the president, they must protect their own existence within the system. There is no room for doubt, fatigue, or hesitation. Every action, every look, and every word can be interpreted as a sign of weakness. In this context, trust is a currency more valuable than gold. Lose it, and you lose everything. Modern Russia, under Putin's rule, maintains a facade of strength and stability. But behind that image, there is an internal game of power, fear, and control. Loyalty is rewarded with privileges, but even a hint of betrayal and/or simple incompetence can seal an agent's fate. The most unsettling part is the silence. The Russian state rarely admits to failures, especially when they occur near the president. Instead, mistakes are erased, hidden, buried. Those who fail are often not judged. They are forgotten. This type of structure creates an environment where perfection is not just expected, but enforced. And this raises a crucial question: how long can a human being survive under such pressure without breaking? In the end, the question that echoes through the Kremlin's dark corridors is not who protects Putin, but rather who protects those who protect him. Because in a regime where failure is not tolerated, the punishment is not simply dismissal, its disappearance. Literally, the world sees the impassive face of Vladimir Putin and the men in dark suits around him, but few understand the true cost of being in that position. To be the bodyguard of the most powerful man in Russia is, more often than not, to sign a pact of silence, obedience, and invisibility, a pact where a single mistake is the final act. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out some other interesting videos that are popping up on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one. See you next time.